Hi everyone, welcome to another review video by OnWheelsTV dedicated to Assetto Corsa. And to let you know, in case you don't, but I'm pretty sure you do, that there was a new version, a new build for the sim released, which was build 1.8. So we now reached version 1.8 of the Assetto Corsa sim. It has received, since its release, some minor improvements, so you'll probably when launching your sim now in these days, you'll notice that it is 1.01 or 1.02 or maybe more, because some minor stuff is always being introduced when they notice that there are some things that are still not working properly, and they do some fixes. So this build introduces several improvements, also some fixes, and also some new content. It also marks the entering of the Assetto Corsa sim in other platforms such as PlayStation 4. So you now can have access to this sim and enjoy it both on your personal computer or on the PlayStation 4 platform. So some new stuff introduced, and when I say some new stuff, I also include content. So we are going to show in several videos that we will publish daily. We start with this one, but today another video will be released with subjects, with content from this latest build. But we start with the Monza 1966 version, which was finally introduced in the Assetto Corsa sim. So you have the normal version of the track, which was already available, and now you have the version that people in motorsports know it as the Sopra Elevata, because it's the version which includes the high-speed ring, the highly dangerous but highly exciting, even also in sim racing, high-speed ring. And also it has another version which was included also with this version of the Sopra Elevata, which is the 66 Junior course. So it's a really small version of really small layout of this track, and as usual, in our latest video coverage and content coverage, to be more specific and more precise in terms of our focus, commenting and reviewing sim racing content, we include all this version, and we decided to include also the full classic version of the racetrack without the high-speed ring. So we used two Lotus cars, two Formula 1 Lotus cars, then the Lotus 49, which is the one you are already watching, and then we used another version of the Lotus car, which is the Lotus 25. So two different versions, cars with different power and performances. And we wanted to keep this video with historic content, and therefore we thought that this other Lotus choice was also good, although we also could have opted for the Maseratis, which are available in a DLC, such as these two cars are also from a DLC. But we wanted to go for the Lotus. Small mistake there. Allows you to see that the left tire gets some dirt, then it's clean, obviously by the contact with the tarmac. So a lot of important stuff for this build. As I mentioned, some fixes, some improvements. We will not be addressing all of those fixes and improvements during this video. We will address some, but others we will leave them for specific videos, small videos that focus on the improvements on each content. So it's a different approach, but it's the month of August is clearly in its finished yesterday. So we want to start September with our continuous new approach to improve on our work and to get you guys to be more connected with OnWheelsTV. And this is a bet we plan to win, and therefore we are changing some of the approach that we produce on our content. So Obviously, with such a specific track, with such a specific version that was really lacking in the sim, about time they released this, it was obvious that we would have more fun and also provide you with a more interesting view of what this content means if we used cars that raced back in the day. So simulations, virtual versions of cars that raced back in the day. Also because there's really there's not much content available in terms of tracks for these cars, and I do believe that these cars were born to drive on the tracks which were available at the time, such as this one, and it would really be a good idea if Kunos Simulazione could introduce more tracks such as this one to go along with this content, because these cars were not designed at the time to race in high-tech tracks, and you cannot enjoy them enough on high-tech tracks because it's really not their nature. But this is just personal remark. Pretty sure that Kunos Simulazione cannot place or put in the sim all the tracks available out there, but it would be good if they did balance a little bit more the tracks available for each specific content that they release, being that some of that content is part of DLC, is paid content, so this would bring more fun to people who are into sim racing and bought this content and probably would like to use it on the tracks that they actually raced on their racing days when they were really alive. So as you may have noticed already, we are driving the Ford GT on the full version of the track, full version in terms of Grand Prix track from 1966. So this is the version without the high-speed ring. The Ford GT is also part of previous DLC paid content, which was released by Kunos. What I'm going to say now has nothing to do with this specific build or this specific version released, 1.8 version, but just a small remark. If you haven't bought so far any, or if you didn't buy some of the DLC contents which were already released by Kunos, you are missing on amazing cars, because although the DLCs that Kunos released are really damn good, and this is part of one of them, second or third. I'm not sure, but it's not important also for this video. But it's a great car, and you definitely want to drive it in a track such as this. And although this track was already available, this version, well, if we are going to show you all the content from 1966, which is now available on the sim, we had to include this, right? Otherwise, people that are watching this and are planning on entering the sim racing world, well, they would have reason to say that that this version was lacking in the video. So we want to show you everything. We show you with different cars, also so that you don't get bored watching the same car, and also because same cars provide different different cars, sorry, provide different performances, different ways to drive the cars, and a more interesting video in my humble opinion. So these cars were hard. These cars had the steering was not so swift as in modern cars, in more recent cars. So it was a struggle, especially on tracks such as this one. These were really flat tracks. Of course, the Sopra Elevata version is not flat at all, but in terms of Grand Prix tracks, this was really the track was really flat, and these cars had really large tires. They were heavy and they were hard to control with a lot of power. You had to really prepare and brake early, because the brakes were not also as good and as performant as the ones that our cars, current racing cars, have. So it was a different way to drive. Everything was different, and this is why we believe that this content, these cars, which there are several of them, several Formula cars, several prototypes. This is basically a prototype. sports car. These cars need more content such as this one, more tracks such as this one, because this is their natural habitat. So if you want to enjoy these cars, if you want to simulate what these cars would perform back in the day, it has to be with this kind of tracks. So I really hope that Kuno Simulazione takes some inspiration out of this release to develop more content such as this one. So the sim received several improvements. There were some improvements in terms of the shadows, which is something that people always kind of complain. They are always improving. The sim this is a work in progress, you know. It has to be evolved. This is evolution. This happens everything in life. So it has to happen also here in sim racing with the simulators. And they improved also a little bit the AI. We are definitely have been delaying our review video, or at least our several review videos that we have in our plans for specific approach on the AI, but we did test it for a little while in this with this build, but we didn't want to use this not yet on a video. So but we did notice that the AI is improving. Also with the multiplayer, there are also notorious improvements, and we will be addressing that in other videos in the near future. So in terms of the changelog, now that we are already watching the junior version of the track and on the Lotus 25, just to mention that the full changelog of this build is published at the OnWheelsTV post at onwheelstv.com, the website. So in case you want to see this content and the photos that we always publish a photo album that we care to produce, takes some time to produce. We try to edit the photos as best as we can with our knowledge. If you want to enjoy that and watch that, and if you want to know, in case you want to read thoroughly what is contained in the changelog, you can find it at in this specific post where the video is allocated, and you can find the link for that. In case you are just watching us via YouTube, you can find the link for that in the top of the comment of the info on the written comment that goes along with this video. So you'll have the changelog there, and then we will be addressing in several videos we will be releasing starting from today. With this one, we will be addressing specific areas that are mentioned in the changelog. So this junior course version is also really fun to drive. This car is not part of this build. This is from a DLC, paid DLC. There are also 3 new cars that were released along with version 1.8 with this version of the sim. There are 3 cars that were released as part of a new DLC, so paid content once again. We already have that, and we are going to address that also starting from today in our second video. So, and all of them will have specific videos. So this is the way we now do things. You'll have to see more videos, but this is our way to do things. We don't want to follow what everyone does. We have our own approach, and this is our approach from this content from now on. So just showing you the version, the various layouts available. 2 layouts that were released along with this build. We also included in the video one that was already in the track library from Assetto Corsa, and we will be releasing later today a second video specifically about one of the cars from the DLC. Thank you for watching, guys, and bye bye.